to be part of our Grand A Day giveaway. It's happening between the 11th of December and the 22nd of December. Here's the deal. If you've entered our car draw, you could be the lucky winner of €1,000. And here's how it works. Every day, we'll be making a call to one lucky listener. And picture this, you answering the phone and discovering that you are €1,000 better off. But here's the twist. If that call goes unanswered, the prize doesn't disappear. It rolls over to the next day and the next and the next and so on and so on. So if you're in the running for our fantastic car draw, you need to keep that phone beside you because it could be your ticket to being a grand richer this Christmas. Don't miss out on all the excitement and the chance to win. You can buy your ticket for our car draw right now at highlandradio.com, and who knows, you might be the next big winner in our Grand A Day giveaway. All right, so that's all happening between now and the 22nd of December. It's all happening right here. It's all happening right now on the Saturday Rewind because I am joined in studio for the final time this year, I think, by Collie McFadden. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. And I suppose, can we say it? Merry Christmas, Rory.
Happy Christmas. I don't feel awkward about saying it now.
Yeah, I think it's acceptable. I'm not the biggest Christmassy person, but I'm definitely not a Christmas in November person. But now I'm here. I was listening to your Christmas songs all the way up. I think I agree with you about The Darkness, by the way. I think the last one. Now, because I like weirdo indie music, there's loads of great Christmas stuff, particularly by the band The Eels. But of the big epic Christmas stuff, I think you're right.
That is the last one.
I think
it's not for the one. They are trying their hardest to come out with a Christmas hit, but it's just not.
It just shows you how hard it is to do.
Exactly.
And like the stuff that I bet you when Wizard came out with that, they thought we'd have a one-hit wonder 1 year and not think it was still playing. Noddy Holder didn't realise that his song was going to pay for his retirement. And we'll get to that. There's a couple of Christmas movies back on re-released here again that weren't hits.
Oh, I love the segue.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
That weren't necessarily hits at the time and have lasted the test of time. Where other stuff that was made as going, oh, we're going to mop up at Christmas, never hit the mark.
Exactly.
Isn't it funny the way it happens?
Exactly. And we will get to a few of those Christmas classics as well, but let's talk about the big one this Christmas, and the big one now, really. It's a prequel, and I'm quite excited about this. Wonka. Tell us about it.
Yes, and look, actually that sums up nicely because you're talking about things that you go, oh, it ticks the boxes for a big hit at Christmas. So, look, people of a certain generation, and now we know what generation you are because you gave away your details. If you'd like to mention your first pet on air as well, we'll all really have a good Christmas. I get into your account. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was a staple of my childhood growing up, probably on TV before I ever saw it in the cinema. And then,
it became a real Christmas tradition in people's houses that it wasn't Christmas morning without Willy Wonka on BBC One.
Yeah, 100%. And then, of course, you think, ticking the boxes, they decide to remake it, more true to the novel, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, with Johnny Depp, tick boxes, and it was rubbish. It really wasn't great at all.
Yeah.
And I must admit, when I heard, they're going back to Wonka again, and you're thinking, especially if you're my age, you're going, but sure, Gene Wilder was a perfect Wonka. Why are you going back? Oh, a prequel. Oh, I've heard all this before. This is the same old, squeezing the life out of stuff like the Lion King remakes and all that sort of stuff. And I was quite cynical going in. And then you started hearing hints of stuff that Warner Brothers thought they had two mega hits this year, Barbie and this. Very confident about it. And then you hear, it's the people who did Paddington. And that made me sit up and go, I genuinely think Paddington 2 is one of the greatest movies ever made. Not ironically at all. I think it's brilliant. And do you know what you were saying about Christmas magic? To cover a movie that can go for all ages with no cynicism and no schmaltz, it's sentimental without being like American sentimental, sort of the dodgier parts of Home Alone sentimental. It's really hard. So I went in yesterday with excitement on one side and a bit of cynicism going, maybe we should make an original story. I'd say it was about 15 minutes, Rory, when I went, okay, you've won me over.
You're sold. Okay.
It's sold. Timothée Chalamet is very good in as Wonka, and kind of as a young naive. You know the way there's a bit with Gene Wilder's Wonka, he's kind of a bit cynical because things haven't always gone well and he's kind of been isolated.
Quite cynical and quite frightening.
Yes, Because and like
Wilder's
Roald
Wonka.
Dahl
Yeah.
is quite nasty, whereas this Wonka is very innocent, very sweet, and very kind. But there's loads of characters around.
Just to clarify before go any further, okay? Yes, this is a prequel.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is set firmly in the Gene Wilder Wonka universe.
100%.
So not the Tim Burton. It's the original Wonka.
Wonka arrives in this town and he's obsessed with making chocolate, but he's no money and he wants to set up a shop, and there's big chocolatiers who are running the cartel, and he wants to get involved, but he loses all his money and he goes to Olivia Colman's house as a boarder, but he doesn't read the small print, and suddenly he ends up being basically a slave in the laundry. But everyone else is depressed there, but Willy Wonka is going to get his way out. So it's very much how the man Gene Wilder became, how he becomes that character. But what's good about it is, because Roald Dahl did this very well, even though he's very sweet and innocent, the other characters around him are all straight out of like the Twits and, you know, these horrible, grotesque creatures. But like, look, who am I talking to? Pantomime characters.
Yes.
Like, they're so over the top. Like, Olivia Colman's having such a good time being this she's got Mrs. Scrubber, you know, and she's just so cruel to the orphans and stuff like that, in the way that Roald Dahl movies and books always did well.
That's your Miss Trunchbull.
Exactly. These scary characters that aren't too scary because they're so over the top, but they're just the right amount of scary. The songs are by Neil Hannon of the Divine Comedy, and that's another thing that I think really magic, because that sort of wittiness.
Yeah.
And you know, when it's going all sweet and sentimental, where it would go into American schmaltz, he has that sort of slightly sarky Irish thing where
he's going down the Father Ted route.
Exactly. He has to make the little joke at the end.
Okay.
Some of the songs are really good. There's one where Willy Wonka, mild spoiler, is giving out sweets that turn people into like they're living a life in a Broadway musical that I just thought was great. It stays around the right time. It's about an hour and 45 minutes.
Good.
Not too long, not too short. There's a couple of mildly scary bits that I would say, if you're maybe under 6 or 7, that if you're sitting beside mum and dad, it'll be fine. The policemen are a bit mean to Willie for a couple of times. But other than that, it'll be fine. If you're on your, you know, if you're maybe just with your big brother, you might be a bit scared. But, you know,
is one of those scary moments Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa?
No, but I can imagine he'll freak the bejesus out of a few children. I didn't know what to say there. Yeah. I was trying to think of a Wonka pun. That's all. I wasn't going to swear. But yeah, he's actually not in it as much as I thought, as the trailers would make you think. But when he's in it,
as much as the media would have made you think back during the summer when it was leaked, you know. Yeah,
it's much more the other surrounding characters, and he's this team that help him, who are all people who went to the city with dreams and ended up kind of in servitude, working, and it's a real poor versus the rich and corruption, all that stuff that they do well. And it's very broad brushes, but I really enjoyed it. I think, Rory, you'll really like it. I think you'll love the world that it's in. Now, it's not Christmas. The big guy, Santa, doesn't appear or anything like that, but it's set in the winter and it's all this beautiful chocolates and shop lights and all this magical stuff, like all Willie's sweets, you know, they make you fly, they make you laugh. There's one that very funny, there's a big night out that a lot of people at their Christmas parties will experience, you know. that there will be a very familiar, there'll be a lot of parents watching it this morning, the very familiar feeling. I think, you know, it's not the high bar of Paddington 2 maybe, but it's a really lovely Christmas family movie that you can bring, you know, Granny and the cynical teenager and the little kids and all of them, if they let themselves, do you know what, it's like a detox for cynicism. Because I went in a bit cynical, and you're going, oh yeah, Hollywood, just same old idea, same stuff again. And then I'm going, oh, it's lovely though, isn't it? And it's beautiful looking, and the clothes and the pictures and everything about it. You just go, they've put a lot of effort into it.
Out of 10, what are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it an 8, which is high for me. Now, I only saw it yesterday. Now, the trick will be, will I still give it an 8 next Christmas? I think I might. I think this might stick around, and I'd be really curious to see what you think. The other thing is, just obviously they will have used effects and CGI, but an awful lot of the stuff is clearly physical. They built sets, just like Barbie. They built the world, and it's just that much better for it. That there's kind of, you know, these lovely sets that you can see the physicality.
It's tangible.
Yes. Exactly. And I think, obviously Hugh Grant's bit is all CGI, but there's an awful...
I hope so.
There's an awful lot of it that you can see. They built this amazing shop, and he's standing on this beautiful chocolate fountain, and they've obviously built it, and I thought those bits were great.
Okay, good. So that is Wonka. That is in cinemas now, and that'll still be knocking around, I would say.
Oh, it's going to be around for ages. And some people will go this weekend, but the majority of people are going to go over the Christmas holidays and still be there.
Okay, all right. So that's Wonka in theaters now. All right, going to go for a quick commercial break. We are going to talk the return of Meg Ryan right after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
The winner takes all at the Cope Dunlow's Christmas Advent Countdown. Spend over €50 in any of the Cope stores from now until December 23rd for your chance to win the entire contents of the Advent calendar, worth over €3,000. T's and C's apply. See in store for details and for daily Advent reveals. See the Cope Dunlow on Facebook.
If you're in Letterkenny doing a bit of Christmas shopping and the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's. The menu is packed with delicious options for all the family, including mouth-watering burgers, delicious chicken and battered fresh fish. Not to mention the famous Charlie's chips, the tastiest in town. All the food is hand-cooked to order, and there's a great selection of gluten-free options also on the menu. Happy Christmas from everyone at Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny. Open every Tuesday to Saturday from 12 to 8.
Impress this Christmas with magical starters at Lidl. A must-have for special occasions. Our superb deluxe organic smoked salmon, only $4.29. And spread the luxury with our deluxe pate selection, only $3.99. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl.
Send Christmas smiles from Alcorn's festive flower selection. Lovingly remember those we miss with a tribute from our Christmas selection. All our orders are handmade in store, so please order early. Wishing you your best Christmas from all at Alcorn's.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names to choose from like Andre, Tom Penn, Rimazumo, Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow. If you're going to a special occasion or big event, get fitted in style at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, online at watsonmenswear.com or follow on social media for details of offers and new arrivals. The Christmas Club is also now open and a small deposit will secure any item.
Did you see Fran's letter to Santa?
No. Dear Santa, I want a dolphin. Real one, please. And a donut as big as a car.
Dunn Stores can make Christmas for almost everyone. Whether you dream of amazing food, a beautiful tree, or the presents underneath it, we've got you covered. Except for dolphins and car-sized donuts. We'll leave that to Santa. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunn Stores.
You're listening to Rewind with Rory Farrell on Highland Radio. Good morning!
Welcome back into the show. It is 12 minutes to midday now. We've had a call from the guards to advise that if you are travelling on the Carndonagh to Quigley's Point Road, that's the Mullins Road, please drive slowly and carefully due to the heavy rain. That applies to all roads this morning, in fact, due to very heavy rain overnight and continuing heavy rain. A lot of very poor driving conditions out there. So if you're out and about on the roads this morning, please do slow down, take care, and if you can avoid travelling, maybe you should do that for the day that's in it. All right, Collie McFadgen is with me in studio. We are talking movies, and next on the list is the return of Meg Ryan.
Yes, so one of the things we get, I was just thinking there, is going, if you could avoid travelling, as I'm about to drive back to Bundoran. So if everyone wants to leave...
Sorry, Collie.
Yeah, if everyone wants to leave that road clear for the next 2 hours, I'd really appreciate it. But... one of the things people say to us all the time, they don't make good rom-coms anymore, not like the ones with Meg Ryan. So clearly Meg Ryan sort of agreed, because she's come back to the cinema and she's directing this one herself. And it's quite a, sort of common setup. It's, an old, a couple who were together and had been split up a long time. They happen to bump into each other at the airport. And it's Meg Ryan and it's David Duchovny, he of X-Files fame. So very 80s, 90s
yeah.
crossover. And they meet at this airport and both of them are flying in different places. and suddenly all the flights are on time except their 2 flights are both cancelled, and there seems to be a whole sort of magical realism that the airport announcer seems to be talking directly to them. Now, I've only seen the clips, but I thought that was very funny in the way of people might remember one of the greatest comedies of all time, Airplane. How I got that wrong. Airplane.
Surely you didn't get that wrong.
God, I've set that up. Where, the announcement seems to be directly influencing the movie. And it seems to be this sort of magical sort of Christmassy wonderland because everything's snowed in and they're stuck in the airport. They're giving sort of Tom Hanks and Terminal vibes, except with the one person you didn't want to be with, but maybe it's the person you're meant to be with.
Okay, so that's the message.
Yeah, so it looks like, or if it's not, they should sign me up to Hollywood. I am available for offers. It looks like a nice little antidote for the other movies coming around because we've great movies. We've the big epic movies like Napoleon and all that sort of stuff doing business. We're going to talk about some other Christmas movies, and of course we've got all the classics and Wonka and Wish for the kids. But it's nice to have maybe something for a different market, maybe a slightly older market who would like to see 2 sort of grown-up, believable people in a romantic sort of Christmassy, a bit of a fairy tale in itself. Yeah. For example, Love Actually has been out for a couple of weeks now. It was the 20-year anniversary. And you think people have seen it so many times they wouldn't come again, but people do come again because they love to see that sort of story. And I don't know if this movie will have the same lasting power, but I think there's loads of people who would love something, over the Christmas period. Maybe as well some of the people who do all the work, aside from Santa, getting the presents, getting everything ready for Christmas. When they have a little break on from Stevenson's Day on, this might be a lovely treat. And it opens on Friday. And I'm really curious to see if it goes because it'd be nice to get a reboot of some of these sort of movies, wouldn't it?
Yeah, your warm, fuzzy comedies that it's going to become a Christmas tradition, like your Love Actually, like your. I was going to say Trading Places, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, and look, Harry Met Sally. I'm not saying it'll be that good, but that sort of thing of there's time and place. I love a sarcastic comedy. I love a comedy where people don't necessarily like each other and get together, but sometimes you want a non-cynical side of things. You just want a nice story. Sometimes that's fun.
Okay. So that is called
What Happens Later.
What Happens Later, and that's in theaters
from next Friday.
All right. Possible Christmas classic. This year we're still talking about it next year. All right. And that leads us nicely into returning Christmas classics. So the old favourites are being pulled out of the stocking. What have we got?
So there's a couple of anniversaries this year. As I said, Love Actually and Elf are both 20 years old. And they really nailed it that Christmas. And I think in both cases, people would have thought, these are good Christmas movies. I'm not sure they were as sure that they were going to stick around the whole time. Because Elf is unbeatable. Like, people come every year in their droves. Yeah. In the place I work.
My memory going back, 20 years ago.
When you were 4?
Elf wasn't... Yeah, exactly, thank you. It wasn't a major hit.
No,
it wasn't the instant classic that we now perceive it to be.
My memory of it is somewhat similar in that, here's another Will Ferrell movies. He was making a lot of movies at the time. It's all right. And it's certainly the sort of adults loving Elf was not a thing at the time. But it clearly where, I was, I think, on DVD and then on TV and then on streaming, that it started to become a thing and people started watching it and rewatching it. And that is often the case. One of the other movies that's out this year, one I watch every year, is It's a Wonderful Life. And I didn't see It's a Wonderful Life until I was in my 40s. But that was a flop at the time. Yeah. And people said, Capra, sentimental claptrap. It was just after the war. People were saying, look what we've gone through. We don't need this schmaltzy nonsense, And if any of those people were still alive and you went back in time and said 80 years later, that people will not just be watching it, people will be watching and go, wow, this is really funny, this is really clever. All the stuff about, trust the credit union, not the banks. Sorry if you've got any sponsors there. But all of this stuff is not just relevant, it's as relevant as it's ever been. Yeah. And the sentiment of, it's about mental health. It does start with somebody thinking to end it all.
Yeah, that's right.
You forget that.
I think people do forget that.
There's a darkness there that is redeemed. But only, the light only works if there's dark. And it's that story. And it's brilliant. And again, wasn't a hit. So many of these movies, people, it's kind of like water finds its level. So many of the great movies, the most beloved movies, Shawshank Redemption being another one, the people, not very Christmassy though, but the things that people went, dismissed and said, yeah, it's nothing special. They find their way through, and people know what they love, and the things that touch people's hearts last around for a long time. And when you cynically try and design a movie to hit the notes, it's amazing how often it fails.
Exactly. Talking now very quickly about the post-Christmas lull.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big ones, pretty big players hitting the big screen in the new year as well.
Yeah, when the kids have seen everything and you're looking at a big silly action movie, Aquaman 2 with friend of Donegal, Jason Momoa, I don't know if the movie's any good. I could watch him muck about all day. He is just fun and funny.
Okay.
Also, we've got Next Goal Wins with Michael Fassbender. So good Irish about the worst football team in the world.
Okay.
I've seen the documentary of this. It's absolutely brilliant. So if the fictional story is any half as good, it'll be a great Christmas family get together.
Okay.
It's like Cool Runnings except soccer.
Okay. So they are heading theatres in
but Stevens's
January.
Day, basically.
Okay, and that'll carry us through. Collie, thank you for another wonderful year at the movies.
Thank you very much.
We will be talking to you in January.
Hopefully.
The other side of Christmas. Listen, have a wonderful Christmas. And you'll have a busy Christmas, I'm sure, at the cinema as well. You're going to be flat out. You probably don't get your Christmas holidays until January.
Shh, don't tell my boss.
Okay, right. I don't want to drop you in it.
Yeah.
Collie, thanks as always. We will talk to you in January. Have a very happy Christmas indeed.
Merry Christmas.
Collie McFadgen, and he will be joining us again in January, all being well, and we will be talking all things